Muse, it's damn cold. Ugh. Here in the office/studio, and listen, you can hear the heat just kick on, and I am not turning it off because it is too cold to be in this place without any heat. So I'm sorry, you're just going to have to suffer the sound of the heat and the little clicking of my space heater because it's 5 degrees outside. And I'm not going to suffer anyway. I'm not here to talk about the elements with you, Muse. I'm not here to talk about the cold and the snow. There's no snow, so I can't talk to you about the snow. I'm here to talk to you about catharsis. Catharsis. It's what's for dinner. Why do I want to talk to you about catharsis? Not catharsis or Carhartts, although Carhartts might be a little warmer than the pajamas that I am currently wearing. Catharsis. What is it? I'm not here to define what catharsis is. I'm going to talk to you about why catharsis is important to artists. Catharsis artists. They almost sound the same. As you know, Muse, because you're the one that gave me the idea for the story, I'm writing a book called POTUS. And because you also inspired the book that inspired the main character for POTUS, that being Flotsam from Punk Ass Punk, you know that this particular book has a very punk flair. It's a lot of attitude. Now, I'm not going to tell you about this book. I don't want to give anything away. But I want to say that given the current, how do I say this? The shit-canned climate that we have in this country, wherein the ruling politicians don't give a crap about the people. Many of us, especially of the artistic bent, are desperate for a way to deal with the issues. And every artist that I know understands fully that their art, their craft, is cathartic. It allows them to purge their demons. And quite frankly, it is a necessity. Because without that ability to purge those demons, we would have trouble functioning in society. Any artist like me understands this, that without the ability to purge, to gain some level of catharsis, we would step out into society and be a wreck. And society wouldn't want to have anything to do with us. Because without catharsis, all of that emotion, that tragic fear that builds up inside of us would not have a route to escape. And it would just build up and build up and build up until we explode. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that emotional offal to be splattered across society. And so, we channel our art in such a way that we can find some catharsis. And POTUS has been that for me. Wow. But there's a trap involved with that. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. Many of us have gone through those periods of life where we've had some pretty severe issues with other people. Maybe not severe, but even if it's a significant other who is pissing you off or frustrating you beyond control or compare, or someone has broken up with you unfairly so, or treated you unfairly, and you have been given the advice to write them a letter. Write a letter and you say everything that you need to say in such a way as to get it out. And then you just don't mail that letter. Don't send that email. You delete it. But you've written it, you've managed to get all of that out of your system, and you can function. Now, for those that have read Hell's Muse, I wrote the damn thing. I titled the damn thing. I should know the title of it. For those of you who have read that book and have heard me talk about that book, you understand that that book, for me, served a very particular purpose. It was a catharsis for me to work through the issues that I was having with the publishing industry. And it was originally going to be that letter that I wrote to the publishing industry that I would never, ever send. But in the doing, I wound up crafting something that I was proud enough of, very proud of actually, that I decided it needed to be published. And that's what's happening with POTUS. There is much of this book that is turning into not a stream of consciousness, but an anti-love letter to the Trump administration. And it's done by way of fiction with an injection of my usual humor. And it is allowing me to really get rid of some of these demons. But the danger is, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this, is my purging onto the page something worth publishing? Now, I can't determine that because I'm the one barfing out the deluge of vitriol onto the page towards a certain collection of people. I can't determine that. It's the same thing. I can't edit my own stuff because there are things I don't see. So what I have to do is I have to depend upon beta readers to tell me, oh my God, this is nothing but hate mail. It doesn't work. Or this is perfect. And for this particular book, I'm going to kind of venture outside of my usual beta readers and find people that are connected to the political landscape, be they directly connected to it or indirectly connected to it. I want people who understand and who can see this for either what it is, what it wants to be, or what it can't be. But I think even beyond me making sure that I know that this book is worth sending out to agents, and it isn't a collection of my hatred toward, well, you know. I want to say to artists everywhere that we're going through a really hard time. Because we're facing a government, and this is not just limited to America. We're facing governments who are not friends to artists. They're doing us no favors, economically, emotionally, socially, politically, no favors whatsoever. And some of us feel like we've been backed into corners, that we don't feel like we have a means out. And it's frightening. And so to every artist out there, what I say to you is to channel that feeling into your work. And find catharsis in your work. Don't take it out on those that love you, that are around you, because that's happens. I mean, think about this. Let me put it to you this way. And I've been in this situation before. We've all had those jobs that we hate and that directly and profoundly affect us. And we go there for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours a day, and we do that job. And we just feel our soul shriveling into a black carbonized chunk. And we go home, and we've had no means of escape or release of that tension and anger. So we go home and we make victims of those that we love. And we take it all out on them. The difference between that and this is that at least with a job, we can leave. We can go home. We can quit that job if we want, if we hate it that much. Not so with the current political environment. We can't quit this. Not until it comes time to cast our votes. So we need something to serve as a means of release. Let that be your work. Because from that need, that desperate need for catharsis, might come something of absolute brilliance. And we need that. You need that as artists. You need that as a muse. I need that. People that read or watch or listen, they all need that. I've had conversations with musicians recently we've shared the fact that we are all using this environment and channeling it into our work to create something to even possibly affect change. So that our fans can come together in some form of not grievance, but a community and experience this all together. So we know that we're there. We're all there together, and we've got each other's backs. So if you're a musician, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, if you're a filmmaker, now is the time for you to channel all of that energy into something creative that you can then show everyone and say, this is why it is important to be engaged, to understand what's going on around you, and what is happening to me and those like me. Because we all need it. We all need that release. As artists, we need to be able to release those emotions and those feelings and those thoughts. And readers and listeners and viewers need to understand that they're not alone. And they need to be able to connect on that level and feel that they are a part of something. Because right now, I don't know if you can feel it, but there is something really special brewing under the surface here in this country. There is a movement wherein the people, we, the fucking people, now understand that there is power to be had in our votes, and we proved it in Alabama, and we will continue proving it in 2018 and 2020. And we as artists can serve as a reminder of that. And so whether you're using your work as catharsis or a means to communicate these ideas to the people, to your fans, do it. Don't stop that. Don't be afraid. Because if you're afraid to use your craft, use your art in such a way, you are missing out, and your fans are missing out. I hear it all the time from all different people. Artists shouldn't express their opinions on politics. Why the hell not? We are people. We are multidimensional people. I don't want to just talk about writing because there's more to me than that. And I have a platform with which I can use to speak to these things. And people will listen. And hopefully what we can do as artists is we can speak convincingly with a certain level of heart and soul, and help people to understand that there are alternative ways of thinking and living. And in the process, we purge ourselves of all of this junk. Because to live with this, I couldn't do that. I couldn't live with all of this in my heart and my mind 24/7 and not release it. It's unhealthy. Mentally and physically, it's unhealthy. And it's unhealthy to the people around me. I don't want to do that to them. I don't want to hold all of this in and then eventually just let it all stream out in this waterfall of anger. It's better that I focus it on the page. Wow, that got sidetracked, I think, a little bit. But that's okay. It was necessary. People, we will get through this. And we will be better for it in the end. Muse, this was actually going to be a conversation between you and I decided that it needed to be something else. But hey, you're a really good listener, Muse. You're as good as the paper or the digital paper on which I write. You listen. You're there. Thank you. Thank you, Muse, and thank you, Art. Thank you to my fellow artists, and thank you to every fan of every genre and medium out there. You're the reason why we do this. You, all of you, rock.